As I get to know you, I know there are new people on the call that I haven't met before, so just out of respect, I'd like to introduce myself in my language. Tachitnis Mishle, Ashia Bashichin, Hashkan Zoni Dashi Chader, Todachitni Dashinella. So for those of you who are not familiar with the Navajo language or customs, this is how we respectfully introduce ourselves to any kinship in attendance. My clans are Red Running Into Water, born for the Salt clan. My paternal grandfather is Yucca Fruit Strung Out on a Line clan, and my maternal grandfather is Bitterwater clan. Hello to any kinship I have or relatives on the meeting, and my pronouns are she, they. It's been quite a few months, it's 4 months actually here since I've started here as the new director for OMMIR. To start out, please don't hesitate to ask any questions as we meet this morning. I'm looking forward to catching you up on what the office has been working on. For now, I'll give an overview, which Adrian used to do as a part of our last meeting. It was the first introduction of myself as the new director. And also MMIR community volunteer advisory board members and general community members gave their introductions to myself. And Adrian had given updates on the new MMIR position. We had a connection to AUSA, the Assistant U.S. Attorney General's Office, and the U.S. Attorney General's Office with a meeting to partner with them. And we had a lot of community output on how the OMMIR can move forward. And there was some community input on dating violence that we addressed and talked about. So next on our agenda is that I'm going to give some updates on our developments. And first is that I had done a lot of community meetings and meeting with people in person and also virtually. I was really happy to meet with Josh over at the Durango U.S. Attorney General's office. And Josh, do you want to give some input on how our meeting went?
Yeah, I thought it was a very productive meeting. Melody was able to meet with the other assistant United States attorneys in the office, and we discussed what we're doing down here. There's 2 other assistant United States attorneys, and we prosecute the major crimes that occur on the 2 Colorado recognized reservations here. And so it was good to meet with Melody and just sit down and get a sense for what she's doing and what she wants to do, as well as I think for her, and I don't want to speak for her, but to have an appreciation for what we do on a day-to-day basis, in addition to our efforts to try to address the MMIR issue down here. So I thought it was a very productive and it was a very pleasant meeting.
Thank you. Thanks, Josh. And I agree. I think our partnerships as we move forward in the state is very important for myself as we navigate how we respond to our missing and murdered Indigenous relatives. And so that's a critical part of what I'm doing right now in my first year here, is to work with the community, find certain stakeholders in our community who we can immediately work with and talk about how we can strategize about the community response. And so thank you, Josh, for that. And other important stakeholder meetings we had is I met with the Southern Ute Tribe and also the Ute Mountain Ute Tribe. And Councilman Jacket, do you want to give an update on how our meeting was with your tribe?
Yes, thank you, Melanie. Thank you for coming. And I was able to meet with Melanie and show her our reservation. She attended our Sundance, which is very sacred to us on our mountain. And I showed her our land, how vast it is, how kind of empty it is, how it is to get lost there too. So Recently, we had an incident happen with some tourists, and it's a very dangerous area where we live at, the Southwest Colorado. And a lot of people don't know that the Ute Mountain tribe and Southern Ute, that we exist. So, as a tribal councilman talking for my tribe, the Ute Mountain Ute tribe, I speak for my tribe. So, it's good to have that have that tribal liaison up at the state level. And recently we had some teenagers go missing, and Melanie was able to help out too. And on my part, if I could do any push and pulls too, and find out who I can contact to get people found, it's good to have that level with her. And but those kids, they were found. And the one thing I wanted to ask is, there's a task force. It's not part of you guys. It's a task force, and I would really like, maybe if you guys can look into that. This task force has no right to post anything. They don't got the. I don't think they reached out to the family. I think somebody probably told them about it and they posted it, because it's going to become dangerous when they can post anything on Facebook. I had people ask me about it, and I was like, okay, well, I'll mention this one when I come to this meeting. But yeah, maybe if that task force can be more contained, because you're not with you guys with the state level, right? I'm pretty sure you guys, that task force is on its own. It's good. I'm pretty sure they have good intentions, but they're not following the right procedures. And like I said, if they could possibly post false information too. And as we all know, Facebook is good, but it's also bad too for misinformation too. So, but on the flip side of that, Melanie, thank you for coming down. It's really good to have somebody down on this level. She also talked to our young bushwhackers, our young workforce. She talked to them about what she does, and that's really good to see a Native woman talk on her side, what she's doing on that level, that state level. And I think that surprised a lot of kids. And she's also going to attend our next MMIR walk next Friday. And if you guys can make it, it'd be great. It just put awareness out there. One of our community members, she lost her brother and her son, and she's putting up this walk in memorial for them and for anyone who's been missing. And it's just good. It's good to have that awareness here right now at this time, especially in the state level. So thank you, Melanie.
And Councilman, I appreciate your comments and highlighting also the great work that Melody's been doing out in community. I continue to hear from people all over the state how excited they are to meet with her, and so I think we really got lucky and found the right person for this role. So I'm really excited about that. You brought up the task force, and the task force has actually been a really great partner with us through this process since we've launched our office. I know they do put out information in community, and they're well connected in community and trying to get the word out on things. We can certainly follow up offline with them to make sure everyone's on the same page, or if there's any confusion, to make sure we clarify any of that for anyone in the community, or make sure just that us and the task force continue to have those conversations.
Good morning, everyone. This is Lynette Grable. I'm on the Colorado Task Force. And to address Councilman's concerns, I would like to know what details you're referring to, because all of the cases and all of the missing person flyers that we develop, we speak with the family, we speak with CBI, we speak with law enforcement. We're very much the hands and feet of working with the families who reach out to us, and that we reach out to them. So I would like to know exactly what details are you referring to when we're putting out misinformation.
So thank you, Lynette. So do you have direct contact with our BIA law enforcement?
Yes, we don't put any.
Specifically who?
We don't put out any. So there's.
I'd like to know, because I'm just saying that because if I don't get that information and it's going to you, then that's not right. And I sit on the tribal law enforcement, so that's where things are getting kind of mixed up. Is like, who's giving out this information? So are you familiar with Chief Lawson?
Yes, we are. There's 7 of us And when we have anybody missing from the southern part of Colorado, we either have Daisy Blue Star or Trini is the one who reaches out to somebody or is affiliated with somebody with the BIA or in law enforcement in that region. So none of the flyers are developed or even put on our website or on Facebook without any type of contact with law enforcement.
Okay, so
Sometimes
you have direct contact with Chief Lawson. Okay, thank you for letting me know that. That's good to know. I will get in contact him right after this meeting.
okay.
Thank you, and I'm glad that you can, the task force member Lynette Grable and Councilman Jacket can connect and clarify any kind of miscommunication or, you know, improve that. And as we all know, this is new for our state, and myself is new in navigating and how we work with our communities. So I hope that, you know, I'm sure that we're going to work toward improving our systems to be more streamlined. So I appreciate the conversation. And I also wanted to give some more development updates. Another piece of myself in being this office is the legislation and working on how to move forward in developing this office. And a lot of this is working with community, working with developing our advisory board, which I'll touch on in the agenda moving forward. And I, right now, just so you know, for transparency, I am working on an internal strategic planning on how I can further develop this office. So it helps me plan and guide my process in looking at how I can develop this in terms of making sure we're in line with legislation and also in line with the director's input and how I operate within the office. And so I just wanted to let you all know that, Lynette, your hand is still raised. Did you want to say anything more?
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure. I didn't want to, you know, seem like I'm ignoring you. And so I'm looking forward to doing more strategic planning internally so I can have more guidance on how I can look forward to this next year. So I just wanted to let everyone know for this first year, my focus is going to be on community development, looking at community partners and how I can work with strategic partners, like I said, on in the state and networking. And also some other developments that I've been working on is working a lot with, I guess, with how we work with police and training in MMIR. And so the next meeting we're going to have on that is going to be in the Southwest region. And I'm really excited about that with the Colorado District Attorney's Office, as well as the meeting with the Navajo Nation, who is developing a law enforcement training down in the Southwest region. So I'm excited about that. Okay, so next I'd like to go ahead and talk about the Community Volunteer Advisory Board Council annual report. We're working on this with Phil Gober, who is going to be helping develop this. He has been involved in the past with developing this report. This is a legislative piece that will be coming directly from the advisory board on their developments and how they've been working with our office to inform and let us know how we are working with the community. So I'm excited about that. And we are way ahead of schedule, which is fine. I know a lot of people are out. But I would like to open it up to the community at this point. If you have any updates or input or anything you'd like to let us know about this, the space to let us know about any events that are coming up and to inform everyone about any projects you're working on in regard to MMIR.
Hi, this is Daisy Blue Star. We are currently working on an event here in Durango, Colorado. That'll be on Labor Day weekend. And we are collaborating with the state patrol
I think we lost Daisy.
I have, my name is Carla Respects Nothing. I'm a Denver American Indian Commission. I'll wait for Daisy to start back up, but I also like to give an update.
Sure.
I'm sorry, I don't know what happened. I just got logged off. But yeah, we are doing a bike run, awareness bike run that we do. We started an annual, and again that is the Labor Day weekend, and we do a lot of awareness, education, and support families who do have MMIR. We do reach out to relatives who have lost a loved one, and we wear their shirts and also allow them time to speak if they choose to speak. We will have an exhibit at the end, which will um, always do a timeline of how MMIR got started in Colorado. So every year it's just going to add on and just educate the people, exactly what MMIR and is and the resources that they can use if they do end up missing a loved one. We do a lot of collaborations with a lot of these families. So we have done search and rescue for some of these relatives, and we have successfully helped them find their relatives. So I just wanted to um, just say the work's being put in by the task force, and so it's going to be a really good event. I think there's another um, request here in Durango for education on MMIR, and I think that they did request me to go speak. So if anybody has anything that they want me to include education wide, it would be good. If you wanted to submit something to me or the task force website, I think that would be the best. And that way we can continue to move forward in a good way and make sure that our communities have all the information that's needed out there. So yeah, that's my update. Thank you.
Thank you, Daisy. Go ahead, Carla.
Good afternoon. Good to see you all today. Again, my name is Carla Respects Nothing. I work in the homeless outreach field here in Denver and Lakewood and the surrounding metro area. I'm not a part of the task force, just FYI. But also I'm a Denver American Indian Commissioner for the city and county of Denver. So we've been having through the commission tribal forums and trying to collaborate with the state politicians regarding anything Native American, giving them information sessions, which today we're going to have one down at the library. So anyway, I see in this, when I started this group, I see that we have a lot of representation down in the Southwest region, down in the Southern region. And lately I've been seeing her Facebook, speaking of what Councilman Conrad had said about the Facebook information. We see a lot of Northern tribes missing relatives, and there's no contacts for them. There's no help for the Northern tribes in the northern areas. Me being specifically from, I'm Oglala Lakota, from the Sioux tribes. So, I have a question regarding that and how are you addressing that? I know you have representation here with our elder up in Fort Collins area, but I'm not sure what they're doing up there. And so I see that missing. Also, yesterday, there's an alert for a young man through the city and county of Denver Police Department. And so I seen you all, someone had deactivated that alert. So I reached out to the family through Facebook, and they called me and they said that they still never contacted that person, and that he's still missing in the area down here. And because I live in Arvada. But so they reactivated that missing report. So I'm confused on how, working with the police departments up this way, how is that process handled through your office? Because again, like Conrad had said, excuse me, Councilman Conrad, what is the and along with Lynette and Daisy, what is the protocols to reaching out to this office per the task force? Because it's getting confusing. So that's my ask and update for today. Thanks.
Thanks, Carla. And I'll get to the raised hands just in a minute with Lynette and Rosie. And I just just give me 1 minute. So I just wanted to answer from our office's standpoint is that first, I did make contact with the Fort Collins area. I was invited from Christinia Ayala to meet with them and her community and talk about how we can be more invested in working with them. And so after that meeting, they had decided to put together their own task force, community task force, to help address our Native Northern people who are working on missing persons. And you are totally right, and I hear you loud and clear, that we have a lot of missing relatives who have come down from our northern tribes, from Wind River, and I don't want to call anyone out right now, just out of respect for them, but we do have northern tribes who come through Denver who have been missing, and that is my role right now, is to make connections and to get to know people and to meet people and ensure that we have representation up north, and that has already happened. The second part of that question of what you're asking is that our office is involved in helping supporting families and being a resource to connect families to what they need in terms of their missing persons, in terms of how do they report, are they getting victim services, are they getting their needs met? And so I am so glad to be here to do that and to be a resource to families. And like I said in my first meeting, and also for my work in New Mexico, I'm available to families. First of all, they're my priority. And so if they reach out to me or call me, I talk to them directly. I even talked to them yesterday. And so also out of respect for them and what they want, I don't necessarily put it out there that, hey, I'm talking to this family. And so I just wanted to say, just reiterate that that's the role of our office, is to be a connector. And if I think that Melissa McGaw from CBI would like to also clarify the process. And I recognize as my role, here being new, is that I'm going to keep working on streamlining, on clarifying, and how our offices are working together from the state side with the community. And also with what Matt said, that we are so thankful for the work that the task force does. And we're going to continue to, see how we can streamline our messaging with their messaging and what our roles are in supporting our families. So, Melissa.
Yes, thank you, Melody. So to address the alert yesterday for Dimitri Gold, so the alert was requested by Denver Police Department. And so when an alert, we can only issue a MIPA alert if it's requested from a law enforcement agency. So he requested the alert officially. We issued the alert. We have a law enforcement system called NCIC CCIC, and we monitor missing persons through there. It's strictly through law enforcement, and he was taken out of that system. So I reached out to Denver Police Department, and it was determined that he was recovered due to him being taken out of the system. However, we found out shortly after that was a mistake on another agency's part, that they mistakenly took him out of the system. So him being taken out of the system is what prompted the deactivation of the alert. As soon as we figured out it was a mistake on another agency's behalf, we went ahead and reactivated due to him still being missing. So that was exactly what happened. Exactly where the case stands, I would refer that back to Denver Police Department due to them investigating his case. Does that help answer the questions? Because I know it can be confusing.
Yes, and again, this is a process we're still streamlining, and again, we're new, and so you as a community member has a voice in how we can improve, and unfortunately, we can't move fast enough. You know, working from the state side and from my experience working in Mexico, it moves, but we're not going to not respond, right? You have me as a resource, so just continue to let us know how we can improve from your standpoint as a community member, as a advisory board member. So Carla, I really appreciate that. Does that answer your question? Okay. All right.
Agreed.
So,
And if you, sorry, Melody,
no,
if
go ahead.
you have any other questions about the process, always feel free to ask me and reach out to me. I'm the missing person and missing and murdered Indigenous person relative analyst here at CBI, so I can always answer those questions. And Melody and I work very closely together to help the community understand the process, especially when it comes to law enforcement.
Thank you. Oh, okay. All right. I don't know the timing of who raised their hand first, but I'll just go ahead and go with Lynette.
Thank you, Melody.
Mhm.
Well, good morning, Carla. Respects nothing, to try to clarify some of your concerns that you stated, which were really good to point out. So first of all, the task force, the women on the task force, including myself, are made up of different advocates. We all have different roles as victim advocates or community advocates. I myself, my organization is not Our Native Daughters. We are a national MMIW organization. I am also Hunkpapa Lakota from Standing Rock, and I'm also Northern Arapaho from Wind River. So a lot of my connections in the Northern Plains region really help streamline the work that we do when we have Northern tribes have missing cases. I'm presently in Rapid City right now. I work with a lot of different human trafficking organizations and networks. So when there is somebody from the Northern Plains region that is missing, I usually work with my human trafficking advocates to either get out the information. I also work with all of the South Dakota and North Dakota, Montana, Minneapolis law enforcement agencies. I just talked to Rosebud Law Enforcement Agency yesterday for the to follow up on the case on Tina Littleboy. She was missing from Rosebud, and she was missing in Denver. She was spotted in Denver last summer. She's still continually missing. But anytime there is anybody missing from any type of Northern Plains tribes, or any tribe, we're typically on it, not just from a family standpoint, but also from their region, where they come from, what tribal community, law enforcement. 9 times out of 10, we're the ones notifying the tribal law enforcement of their missing tribal member. So that's kind of like how it happens when there's a Northern Plains or Northern tribes that have missing persons. It's really hard to navigate sometimes. Does this person live in Denver, or does this person live in Colorado and then went missing, but they have Northern tribes affiliation? So there's a lot of things that happen in the backdrop that we do, 24 hours a day. We don't work 8 to 5 p.m. We work 24 hours a day, every single day, to work with the families, work with, CBI or law enforcement, to make sure that everybody is on the same page when a MIPA alert goes out or when a flyer is made and put on our social media. So I hope that clarified some of the concerns with missing persons from Northern Plains regions. Trust me, it for us, it doesn't matter what tribe they're from or what area they're from. We take it as an important matter, and we act most urgently. If one of us don't do it on the team, somebody else jumps in and does it. So we really have a good network and team on the task force on if something doesn't get handled, somebody else is going to do it. So and anytime, Carla, you have any type of questions or concerns about anything, feel free to reach out to us. Our messenger, we all have access to the Facebook page, and we all see the messages that come through there. Please feel free to reach out to us. I would love, or any of us would love to answer any questions you may have. And if you have any ones that you know in the Northern Plains region, just know that I'm usually the one that's on it.
Thanks, Lynette. And if you don't mind putting your contact or the contact information for the task force for Carla and also
Sure.
the community, so they can reach out to you as a resource. So thank you. Daisy? Okay, I thought I saw her hand raised, so we'll go ahead with Rosie.
I'm sorry.
Oh,
My
no,
phone,
go ahead.
I don't know what's wrong. I'm not in a good space with my phone this morning. No, I just really, I'm Daisy Bluestar, and I just wanted to get on here and just, kind of talk about my position here. I'm on the Southern Ute Reservation, so I also know my sister tribes from Northern Ute and Ute Mountain Ute, and so I have a good relationship with a lot of the people. And so a lot of times when people go missing on either reservation, and we just started this discussion with Northern Ute, is how do we work together to help our people out? A lot of times I've gotten reports from Ute Mountain Ute, even though I'm here on Southern Ute. And like Lynette stated, and Melissa and everybody we just work together to get the information. I usually leave it up to law enforcement to get the information that's really needed out there, and Melissa will also do the investigation and research on how that goes. And so there is a process that we do, and that's kind of like what my process looks like down here. Supporting the families comes first and foremost, and just letting them know that something is being done, and that we continuously keep in touch with them so that they understand that we're not just leaving them hanging when their loved one is out there. And we've had a lot of success. I do a lot of collaboration work with Southern Ute Police Department. And so anytime anybody goes missing in our area, they're really good at they've picked up a lot here. So the collaboration here, we've been able to get people home ASAP, it feels like. So I just wanted to, also show my support from the task force point of view, that there's a lot of work that's being done and has been done and will continuously be done, and that all of us are collaborating to make sure that our people are found and brought home safe.
Thank you so much, Daisy and Lynette, for your input from the task force. I'm so glad you're here to be a part of this conversation with the community. And so to clarify from what I'm hearing is that the task force is working with the permission of the families to share photos and to share information. Is that correct?
Yes, we make sure that we have
Yes.
permission before we submit anything, but usually before we do that, we'll send it to CBI or the local law enforcement. So we try not to just jump the gun and send things out until we're all on the same page and collaborating and kind of all understand that this is the direction that we're going. So, but it does have to be with respects to the family members, because a lot of times family members might be fearful. I've come into some situations where family have been victimized by people who are still in prison, and have their trauma stories based off of, the threats that they get here out here. Even though their perpetrator is in prison, they'll still, get threats. So we do have some fearful victims out here. And so we want to make sure that we handle everybody with care before we even put anybody's lives in danger or put them in a situation that's not beneficial to their mental health. That's just something that I've learned from my standpoint, my point of view. And of course, being a Native woman, you know, I understand that there's certain ways that we walk in life also. So we want to make sure that we are walking in the best way that we can that represents our people.
Thank you, Daisy. And also, I just want to say I appreciate you having me in conversations with yourself about how to approach your communities and how to be in your community. So I really appreciate that. Thank you. And okay, so thank you, Rosie, for having some patience, and we'll turn the mic to you.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Yay, thank you guys. Yeah, it's been a while. It got kind of rocky trying to find a leader. I try my best to come in these meetings and stuff like that. I'm just a board member. I work at the Denver Indian Health and Family Services as a behavioral health therapist. My specialty is I work under a grant for victim advocacy and victim assistance and stuff like that. And so a lot of that's talked about in my sessions is trauma work, all those things, grief and all that. So nice to meet you and good to see everybody. I go to a conference yearly, and it's called the COVA conference, and it's the Colorado Organization of Victim Assistance. And I feel that it's very non-diverse. And so I was requesting if anybody from every, like the task force or anything like that, can present and make this even more aware. I think it will be such a good session of hearing what the statistics are and what it looks like in Colorado region, but then also like what is all of this, and just to continue awareness about how to make a report, how to, because there's a lot of people that come that are geared with victim advocacy from different agencies, and some of them come from out of state too. So I mean, if they listen and hear about all of this, maybe it can spread out to different states as well. in addition to what Lynette and Daisy are doing, which is super cool, that network and stuff, we need that. So they're having the conference in October this year up in Keystone, and I think it would just be such a really, really fun, a really good somebody to come out and educate and talk about this. I can, but I don't know. I need to have your guys' back and making sure that I'm talking about it really good and stuff. But I think, yeah, I'm Danae too. Okay, cool. I'm Danae too. From my maternal clan is Toahane, and then my paternal clans is Red House. And so, yeah. Another thing that I had a question about, because I kept seeing I like that. I like those notifications. It's sad, but I was kind of wondering, what if we do find them, is there some sort of like follow-up, like asking like all these questions about like how did they were taken, or what that all looked like and stuff, because I think that's very important to like maybe even have like prevention now and things. So I was just kind of wondering where that falls. You guys are doing tremendous work already, like pre and during the missing and stuff, but I kind of was interested in the post, the follow-up, linking up to resources or therapy, or like what's out there to help them if to get back home or something like that. So and I think that's it. If not, I can always write in the comments or write back to you guys, but yeah.
Right. Thank you, Rosie. And I hear you loud and clear that we do need to be working as a community to respond. And I also want to start it out with that, again, we're a new office and we're trying to help streamline how we can help communities and work with families and how we respond. So from our office, and my hope in the future is I do have open positions. I forgot to mention that is one thing is that I have an open position for PA for Adrian's position that just opened this past Wednesday. And also I'm going to be opening up a position for a social worker and also finally a data analyst who can potentially help us look at possibly how we can improve working with families or what is the missing connection. And that's something that I did in New Mexico with a research team. And that is going to take some time. And I'm glad that we have the resources within our office to address that. And so with that said, I'm a one-person office right now, so I don't necessarily have the capacity. However, we also have CBI who is looking at that information. And I also want to mention that when a missing person is resolved, or it's very, it can be very delicate to answer, because just on behalf of the family, we want to be respectful of how the person wants, who potentially is found. It can be very difficult to navigate if it's not in the best way, or if they're found, potentially in not a good way. And so we're not necessarily going to, put that out there to the community on how they're found or how the case is resolved. So Melissa, I saw you came on.
Yeah, we'll just due to the respect of the family, we don't release information on how they were found. Most currently for the MIPA alerts and statistics, we've found pretty much every single person safely, except for the exception of one that were all found, and we do not release how they were found. They were found safely, but yeah, for the respect of the family, we and their privacy, we do not release that information.
Oh yeah, no, I totally understand that for sure. It was just more of our network in here, talk about like even whenever that data person comes in as well, for sure. Yeah, to talk about that. And then I know, yes, I totally understand that it's a respect and we want to respect, and it's really, really, really intense. But then also like what we gather, putting it in a respectful way, obviously, and in the forms of like prevention or be safe, have a, I don't know, I was taught have an exit buddy or something like that, or no, alert everyone that you know of that where you're going or something like that. But yeah, no, so just, yeah, I didn't mean to come off as like really showing it off to everybody, but yeah, thank you.
No problem, Rosie. And I think you're right on point with having the data. And unfortunately, again, I keep going back to this work is new to our state. It's new to the country. We only have one database that came out about 5 years ago. And so a lot of the research is really happening now. And so with your community voice informing us and how we can move forward and how to navigate the research and the data is so important. So I'm glad that you're voicing that. That shows that, yes, we need the data and the research, and it's not there, but it's coming. So thank you. Okay, Chief Barrow.
Yes, thank you. In my short time here so far, we've had, I think, 3 missing persons / runaways here, and I just want to echo a lot what Daisy was saying. My goodness, I think our working relationship has been fantastic. I'm on the phone with Daisy. I mean, PDQ after stuff starts happening, and I think we are doing a really good job here in the Southern Ute community of really getting on this stuff. And CBI has been fantastic as well. As soon as their after hours process is very seamless. Calling them after hours is very easy. I get a call back very, very quickly. And they handle things no matter what time of day it is. So I'm really encouraged that we're on the right track. We're working probably on our third iteration of our SOP for missing persons here in Southern Ute. I've collaborated with our communication specialists, with our tribe, and always trying to improve. Continuous improvement is the byword for, I think, all of us in this regard. I think the most frustrating part of the process is where we lose control of how to proceed down the investigative path most efficiently. And that frustration comes from roadblocks that appear to be thrown up from non-tribal law enforcement agencies, where we are trying to help them with information from contacts in our community, and where we are trying to either forensically offer our help to get into computers, laptops, telephones, and try to get that investigative process going a little bit faster. It's that part has been frustrating when we deal with another law enforcement agency that is non-tribal, and I don't know where to go with that one, except for to really get the word out amongst all of our law enforcement partners that they need to really be teamwork and team players with us on this. And but from the community side of things, it's really going fantastic. I enjoy working with Daisy. She's a fantastic person, and I will tell you too, Daisy, that your motorcycle ride on Labor Day weekend is going to coincide with a Four Corners motorcycle ride, and we may need to talk about that offline and kind of how we can work that to our advantage. That's all I had.
Thank you, Chief Barrow. And I know you, but do you want to introduce yourself and let everyone know who you are?
Okay, well, yes, I'm Chief Michael Barrow with the Southern Ute tribe. I retired from the Houston Police Department with 28 years of service there, mostly night shift and investigative roles and things like that. Really excited to be here with the Southern Ute people. It's been fantastic working with them, and I'm really enjoying the partnerships, particularly with MMIR and where we're going with that.
Okay. Thank you, Chief Barrow, and I really appreciate that. I loved meeting you when I first got here, and with also Director Chris Mimak. And I wanted to commend you. I was really impressed and loved seeing that you were a part of that MMIR event for the National Missing Persons Day, MMIR Day, actually on May 5th. And I just wanted everyone to know on the call, I was there, and law enforcement was, Chief Barrow and Director Mimak was serving hot dogs and hamburgers to the community. And I just, that's the kind of community I love to see in this work, is they're working hand in hand with the work of Daisy, who had made that connection. I talk to Director Mimak almost weekly. And so I applaud your work in seeing and also voicing from law enforcement side that community voices and community partnerships, especially with law enforcement, is critical in this work. And so thank you for that. And I'm looking forward to continuing our relationship and working together. And looks like Daisy's hand is raised.
I just wanted to circle back around to Rosie. We have, I don't know if you've seen in the chat, but I put the task force website on there, where we do have a presentation that we could share with your community. I'm sure somebody can present there. Monica Snowbird and Raven Payment are actually really on top of the data for the state of Colorado. I think there can be some sort of training. And like I said, the website, the task force website page is in the chat. So if you wanted to go ahead and get in there, you're more than welcome to and request a training. And I'm pretty sure amongst all of us in the task force, we'd be very happy to help you do that in a way that educates what you're asking for and also shares the data that's been collected for Colorado. I also in the chat shared what Malady was talking about. So she's opening up new positions, and I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of these things. And so Rosie, through the chat, if you're interested in looking those things up, they're in there, and we do support that also. And maybe that's something we need to. Yeah, I think Melody shared also in there just now. So I just wanted to circle around back to that, just so you're aware of those things.
Thanks, Daisy. I appreciate that. I appreciate the community's voices. Are there anyone else who has any events or comments or anything you'd like to add to the discussion?
This is Monica. I'd just like to comment quickly on a issue that we had with a recent case of a relative that was missing, whereas the law enforcement initially in downtown Denver, I think it was District 6, was refusing to take a missing person report for an unhoused person. We finally did get that squared away, and when the family did talk to the detective talked to the family, he was very respectful. And then again, the someone cleared the MIPA accidentally, which then caused the media to say that this person was located when in fact that they were not. And the law enforcement also used a mugshot in addition to the photo the family provided. And so we are running into these sorts of issues still, that we need to get some training to the local jurisdictions on the best practices for this. Because there was a lot of misinformation, and we definitely should not be using mugshots when other photos are available. That does really create a stigma and promote some stereotypes that we don't want going out. And I see you coughing there, Melissa, so hope you're okay. But also, I do want to appreciate the amount of work that she put in on that, because we weren't getting anywhere with anyone. And so Melissa did step in and get the POI to get involved and got some of that information corrected. But, you know, as a reminder, our task force is a completely volunteer run group. And we are working, like Lynette said earlier, 24/7, and we do focus specifically on the state of Colorado. We don't work nationally, but we do track cases that CBI doesn't necessarily track because it doesn't meet the guidelines, and OMMIR doesn't track because it doesn't meet the guidelines. But because we don't answer to state agencies, we are able to track that info for cases that are coming into Colorado or have crossed over into Colorado. It doesn't matter where those people are coming from, as long as they have a tie to Colorado, then we are tracking that. So we just need to really kind of remember that we are all working here together, and not be tearing down the work of what people are doing on a volunteer basis, because we are called to this work. And I do appreciate Matt defending many of our task force members, and Lynette and Daisy also speaking up on behalf of what we're doing when folks are criticizing when they don't actually know what is being done and are not actually trying to be involved in this work.
Thanks, Monica. And like I've been saying continuously through this meeting is that the community voice is really important to our office and what we can do in our own capacity. And I echo what you said with, this is a place where we can definitely streamline, and especially with our new office, and look at ways we can improve the process and inform, especially when it comes to the post training. And like I said, I'm a one-person team right now, so I really appreciate the voices here to help me understand the community and how we can move forward with our capacity in office and what we can do. And I'm so glad that we can do something and respond from the state side. So, Melissa, do you have anything else to add from Monica's comment? I think Monica hopped on after we had this conversation, but I'm glad you could be here too.
Oh, I heard about the conversation before I hopped on.
Sorry, Monica, go ahead.
No, that's all I was saying is we heard about the conversation before we hopped on.
No, I just wanted to echo that we have a really good relationship with the task force, and we continue to work collaboratively, as well as Melody. And so, yeah, we just want to continue that relationship and continue to work together.
Kirby?
Thank you, Melody. Excuse me. I would also like to add just really briefly that we are expanding beyond the borders of Colorado as far as the alert processes. If there's an Indigenous person goes missing in another state, but we have documented evidence or information that they are in Colorado, we can still extend the MIP alert in Colorado for folks that reside outside the state. Again, we just need to have some kind of information that they are currently in Colorado so that our alert is more effective. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirby. And again, I just want to say when I'm in community or presenting to the tribal councils, I also, tell them this is a borderless issue. We've had plenty of people go missing from our northern tribes, like I've said, who, especially in the Denver area, who've gone missing. And we've had plenty of people to reach out to myself. And going back to, I think what someone said about what our office is doing to help them, we were able to, and I have the permission from the family to share this, is that we were able to help a family get their family member back to their reservation up in from one of our northern tribes. And so this goes back to the critical piece of why it is so important to have community partnerships and relationships, because we can't necessarily, we can't, but we can connect people to resources they need. And so I was able to connect them to the Rick Waters, who's also an advisory board member at the Denver Indian Center, to help this family member get back home. And so I just wanted to reiterate from the voices I'm hearing from law enforcement, from Chief Barrow, from CBI, is that the community partnerships are very critical to doing this work and responding. And so everyone on this community call is so important, and I really appreciate that. And this is a space for us to connect and to talk about how we can improve our networking and resources together. And so I really appreciate that. So thank you. What other comments or anything, any other input anyone on the call has?
Yeah, Melody, this is Danielle, part of the task force. You mentioned, excuse me, that, just kind of piggybacking off what you said, connecting more in the community and working together, sharing resources. What can we as a task force do to better support you or be more connected to what you're working on? We are pretty integrated in terms of your position and what the task force is doing. And I just want to, you mentioned you're a one-woman show right now, but really we're all connected as and able to support you. So what can we do better to help you?
Hey, Danielle, I don't think I've met you yet, but I'd love to meet you in person. Thank you for that. And I think that moving forward from this conversation on the clarification of the task force messaging and the clarification, I know there was some Carla had mentioned there's some confusion on who does what with all of our organizations who respond to MMIR, with CBI, with OMMIR, with the task force. And so I think having more conversations or a conversation on what we're doing and how we can work best together would be great to kind of more streamline. And again, like I said, it's my 4th month here. And so this is a strength on our side as community members and how we can best support each other and understand how we can best work together. So I think that would really help myself as I navigate this role and understand how I can strategically work for the next year on building our community partnerships. How does that sound to you?
I'm not sure I was clear on what the action would be. What are you proposing?
Oh, I was saying that another meeting with our office and the task force just to clarify, what you do. And I don't know how long the task force has been in operation, but just to have more of an understanding in how the task force is operating and how we can be a resource to each other.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, we've been around since prior to 2020, I believe, as a task force. And just for everyone on the call, very brief, high level, the Office of MMIR doesn't conduct searches. They will be meeting with families more once Melody's able to hire folks. But as it is right now, we are working directly with families on a very regular basis and helping them maneuver the law enforcement system and how to get their MIPAs out quickly and accurately. We're doing searches, we're tracking the data. If you look at our Facebook or our website, we have close to 100 folks that we are now tracking. When we started this work, CBI had 13 names. So the vast majority of that data came from our grassroots folks doing the research to find out who those people were. And we're tracking homicide, unsolved and solved, murdered by law enforcement, John and Jane Doe's, all of those different components. So that is what we are doing. We are doing the on the ground work, passing out flyers. Sometimes we can get a flyer out faster than the MIPA goes out. And so that's if our flyer goes out prior to the MIPA, it's because the family contacted us and there's a delay somewhere in law enforcement. So we don't want to add to that delay. So we're on it. When we find new cases, we are referring those things to Melissa and Audrey, who are, again, I can never say enough how amazing they are and how much we all value that relationship where they're able to get additional information besides what we can get. So our list is constantly growing. Our research is never ending. And like I said, we are working directly with the families on a very, almost a constant basis. We're doing this work 7 days a week. Multiple people from our task force are working on some level of this every single day in a volunteer capacity. And we are coordinating with other states to see if relatives, they're maybe reported missing out of South Dakota, but they're known to be here in Colorado. So we're tracking that and getting that information out. So whereas Melody does the high level stuff, we joke that if things have to be handled by an agency with letters in it, that's Melody. Whereas if it's someone dealing with families and searching and actual compiling of data, that's us. So, and then a lot of other stuff too.
Yes, thank you, Monica. And I also want to mention that thank you for letting me borrow your ribbon skirt. I still need to get that back to you. So she also does that. She'll lend you a ribbon skirt if you need. Okay, go ahead, Lynette.
Thank you. I did mention earlier, and I know this was a statement that stemmed from Councilman Jacket, and I did ask specifically what was he referencing to when it came to our messaging. I'm sorry, I take offense when anybody says that the task force messaging is someone wants to hone in on it or, get a little bit more grasp on it, I don't think there's anything wrong with our messaging. We talk with families, we talk with law enforcement, we do all of our checks and balances before any type of flyer is even developed and created and put it on our social media or website. So I really want to kind of pinpoint what is wrong with the messaging that we have, because there's no problems with our messaging.
Right, and I saw that Councilman Jacket had had to leave the meeting for another meeting, and he also left his contact information. So it sounds like this is a conversation you can have with him, and I can't answer for him, so I would encourage that.
Okay. Well, you also said that you wanted to address our messaging. So that's why I was wondering, was there something that was put on social media that was a concern to anyone? Because any of us are happy to address any type of post that was out there. Most of our posts, if you guys follow the page, is all just, flyers of the families or an active missing or MIPA alert. So again, if there's anything that needs to be addressed with our messaging, any of us are happy to have that conversation.
Right, yes, and that's something that Danielle had asked, is how an action item with our office, with the task forces, to understand or learn more about, especially for myself, how we can move forward in how we work together, not necessarily the messaging, but how we work together. Because from the call, it sounds like there's some confusion on what the task force does and what our office does, what CBI does. And so I think that's more of a understanding or clarification and to the community on what our offices do. So we can also have that conversation moving forward. I'll email you, Lynette, after this, and also Danielle and everyone from the task force, and how we can meet together and talk about, what we all do and how we can put that out to the public and let them know this is what we do.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Any other updates from the community?
I just wanted to let you guys know we're having our annual Missing in Colorado event on August 3rd. It's going to be from 10 to 3 at the Lowry Conference Center. What this event entails, we hold it every year. It's specifically for co-victims of missing persons, anyone that has any family or friends or loved ones that are missing. It's various resources for these people. We're going to have law enforcement there, as well as NamUs, the National Missing and Unidentified Person website. We also have representatives from NECMEC, some other people that will be there to discuss what more we can do for their families. There's also going to be a luncheon specifically for the families of missing persons that only they will be able to attend. And we just have various partners there. The task force always joins as well. So I just wanted to throw that out there to the community. If you know of anyone that would be interested in attending, I'd be happy to get the flyer out there, and I can attach it in the chat as well.
Thanks, Melissa. And I also know that Councilman Jacket had mentioned that they're having a walk next Friday at 5 o'clock at the Mountain Ute Tribe. And I think there was another, Daisy, there's another event, the bike ride. When was that?
It's Sunday, September 1st for Labor Day weekend.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't know if Chief Barrow's still on here, but we will have a meeting, so we'll include you in that next meeting, just FYI.
Okay, well, anything else? I think we're about to wrap up early, so I'm glad to give some time back to y'all.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you.